Tara Maller is a senior policy advisor and spokesperson for the Counter-Extremism Project, which describes itself as a policy organization focused on countering extremist ideology. Tara, good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So already storied members of the intelligence community have questioned Donald Trump's ability to become commander-in-chief, but should he be given some leeway in terms of his skepticism?
Well, these briefings have been going on since President Truman started them in 1952. They're to prepare candidates and to make them familiar with intelligence. I found the comments interesting and a little bit strange because intelligence is a collection of open source information, newspaper articles, signals intelligence, human intelligence. The United States is one of the best national security, intelligence communities, and our analysts at the CIA, at the NSA, and also military rely on this every single day. Yes, there have been failures, and yes, there have been, poor policy decisions made by leaders on both sides of the aisle. But, to criticize the entire, trustworthiness of the intelligence community, it's the information that our policymakers rely on every single day. The president gets a briefing every single morning, and this is the type of information that's been very useful in countering ISIS on the ground in Syria and Iraq, and also in terms of domestic, preventing attacks here at home.
So give us a sense of what was likely in that briefing. And we've already heard from people who have given those briefings in the past. It's different at this level than it would be, say, once we have a new president and the briefing they get before taking office. Probably focused on ISIS, cybersecurity, Russia, those kinds of things. What likely would Donald Trump have learned?
Sure, absolutely. There are some differences in terms of the intelligence that would be conveyed in this type of briefing for a candidate and when the candidate would become president. When the candidate becomes president, there's a presidential daily brief every morning. That doesn't just have analytical assessments, but it goes behind the scenes. It gives them information, very highly classified information on operations and methods and sources and all that. This would not be given to the candidates. The Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, has said this does not give away that type of level of detail and classified information. Having said that, they briefings on a variety of topics, and Director Clapper has also said, including topics like ISIS, Russia, cybersecurity. I'm sure Iran is on the list. The same topics you hear briefed when the Director of National Intelligence briefs Congress, for example. High-level analytical assessments on the fight against ISIS, on potential vulnerabilities at home, and also on how we're doing, militarily in places like Syria, where there have been offensives in cities like Raqqa, and in Iraq with offensives in cities like Fallujah.
Yeah, obviously you have a very different situation with Donald Trump, who has never run for public office before, never been anywhere near the intelligence community, and Hillary Clinton, who as a U.S. Senator and Secretary of State knows what it is to get intelligence briefings, knows what it is to be in the Situation Room, knows what it is to sit in the Oval Office with the President of the United States. Nevertheless, would their briefings have been probably identical?
I think actually, from what I've read and my understanding, is that they can tailor these to the candidates because they do have different levels of background knowledge, and they may have different levels of exposure to some of these issues. They may have different questions for the briefers. So I think they're non-political. These are done by career intelligence officials. They're not, political appointees that are doing the briefings. So they're going to be fair and objective in conveying the information in a useful format and the information that they feel is most beneficial to the candidates. And this has been going on for every single election since President Truman authorized the CIA to give these briefings back when Eisenhower and Stevenson received them in 1952. So we have a long history of preparing the candidates this way. It's nothing new. I mean, you're correct, though. It's interesting that he's criticizing intelligence, but, Donald Trump hasn't actually seen presidential daily briefs or classified intelligence reports because he hasn't actually served in an administration or in a position with a security clearance. I previously was an analyst at CIA, so I'm familiar with the types of information that, help analysts and help military officials and help cabinet-level officials every single day in their decisions and operations on the ground.
Tara Maller, thank you so much. It's good to have you on the program.
Thanks so much.